Good evening, children. Welcome to the Best EduHub online learning platform. I'm Saudabi here with chemistry classes for the CBSE 10th standard students. So, before entering our 10th standard class, let us brush up some of the common terms in chemistry which are already familiar to you. First of all, what is chemistry? Yeah, it's an interesting branch of science. Everywhere when you look around and in your daily life, you can see different applications of chemistry. From the pen you are using, from the salt and sugar you are using in your food, and the tablets you are taking as medicines, and the utensils we are using in the kitchen, and the clothes we are wearing, and even the PPE kits which are used by the doctors and other health workers during this corona era. Everywhere you can see the application of chemistry. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Basically, we can say that chemistry is a branch of science that deals with the study of matter, its structure, composition, the physical and chemical properties, etc. Now, what is matter? You have already studied in the previous classes that all things in this universe are made up of matter. So, matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. Now, what is this matter made up of? Yeah, it's the atoms. So, atoms are the fundamental building blocks with which all the matter is made up, whether it is a solid, liquid or gases. So, these atoms combine together to form molecules, which in turn combine together in different proportions to form elements, compounds, etc., to make up all the things which we see in our daily life around us. Now, what is an element? Yeah, it's the basic substance with which all other substances are made up of. So, an element contains only one kind of atom in it. Can you give me some examples for elements? The hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sodium, iron, etc. are all examples of elements. Now, what is a compound? As you can see here in the slide, compounds are substances which are made up of two or more elements combined in definite proportion by mass. And some examples of compounds: water, H2O, carbon dioxide, CO2, sodium chloride, which is the common salt, etc. are all examples of compounds which we are seeing daily in our life. So, now let us enter into our 10th standard chemistry textbook. Today we are beginning with the 5th chapter, that is the periodic classification of elements. Now you have seen here an element is the basic substances with which all other substances in this universe are made up of. And at present we have 118 elements in the periodic table, out of which 92 are naturally occurring elements and the remaining 26 are artificial or man-made elements. As we discover new elements, the table will go on. And the history of the classification of elements, or the study about the classification of elements, can be traced back from the 18th century. At that time, almost 30 elements were known to man. So, the chemist of that time was in search of some particular ordered manner to study about these elements. The classification which we are going to study first is Dobereiner's triads. Look at the figure given here. German scientist Johann Dobereiner in 1817 grouped or arranged the then known 30 elements into triads. That means a group of 3. So that is called as Dobereiner's triads. The speciality of this group, let us examine what are they. Each group contained 3 elements, as you can see in the figure. He arranged these elements in the increasing order of atomic mass, but downwards. That is the point you have to remember there. And according to him, the atomic mass of the middle element was equal to the average of the sum of the atomic masses of the other 2 elements in a group in the triad. This is the peculiarity of Dobereiner's classification. So for example, let us look at the first group in Dobereiner's triads. It is lithium, sodium and potassium. The atomic mass of lithium is 6.9, sodium 23 and potassium 39. So, according to Dobereiner, the atomic mass of sodium is given by the average of the sum of the atomic masses of the other 2 elements, that is of lithium and potassium. So, 6.9 plus 39 by 2. It gives approximately the atomic mass of sodium, which we already know, that is 23. Now in the same way you can verify the atomic masses of the other 2 triads too in the figure. Now let us check the demerits of this triad or this classification. Dobereiner would classify only 3 groups of elements in this triads. He tried to classify or arrange the 30 elements known till that time, but he could put only these 3 group elements into his classification. Then his rule did not even apply fully in the same family. So this was the drawback of Dobereiner's triads, and it was discarded. Later on, in 1866, John Newlands put forward another classification called as Newland's law of octaves. As you can see in the figure, here the elements were arranged according to the increasing order of atomic masses horizontally, and Newland found out that just like the musical notes in Indian classical music, the eighth element was the repetition of the properties of the first element. So he named it as the law of octaves. So it was the first time that a periodicity, the occurrence of a periodicity was put forward in the classification of elements. By that time, from the 30 elements in the Dobereiner's era, now we had reached up to 56 elements. So he prepared a classification from the first hydrogen to the 56th thorium element. But the Newland's classification worked well only with lighter elements, that is, up to the elements up to calcium. For in the case of higher elements, this periodicity or recurrence he could not identify. So it was a failure in the case of higher elements. Newland assumed that only 56 elements existed in nature. So, as newer elements were discovered, it was impossible to fit into this classification of elements. Another drawback of Newland's law of octaves was that in order to satisfy his rules, he put two elements into single slot. For example, the case of cobalt and nickel, he put together in a single slot, and also to the same group as fluorine, chlorine and bromine. But the properties of this cobalt and nickel were entirely different from the family members which belong to that group in Newland's classification. And in the same way, the position of iron, which had resemblance with cobalt and nickel in properties, but Newland placed the element iron far away from cobalt and nickel. So, this classification was also discarded later on. Now you can see the merits and demerits of Newland's law of octaves clearly tabulated here in this slide. The difference between Dobereiner's triads and Newland's law of octaves. There it was a group of 3 elements, and here in Newland's classification it was a group of 7 elements each. Horizontal group of 7 elements each. That's another difference between these two classifications. So, by looking at this slide, you can clearly understand the merits and demerits of these two classifications and why these two classifications were later discarded. So, the question which we can expect from this session of class is only about the limitations of Dobereiner's triads, and the next one, the limitations of Newland's law of octaves. So you can answer it clearly with the help of these slides I have presented here today. Now, another one is an application level question which is already given in your textbook also. Now look at the figure given here. In the table given here, 3 groups are arranged: Group A, Group B and Group C, with atomic masses are also given there. So you are asked to find out which group followed Dobereiner's law or Dobereiner's triads in this table. How can you find out? We have already studied that the middle element in Dobereiner's triads, the atomic mass of middle element would be equal to the average of the sum of the atomic masses of the other 2 elements in that group. So, in that manner, you have to check each group, Group A, Group B and Group C. So, in which group you can find this equation satisfying this Dobereiner's condition, you can say that that is a Dobereiner's triads. So find it out for yourself. All the instructions are given clearly here. One important point to remind you, please refer your NCERT textbook along with this class and make a note of all the questions which we have discussed here today in a notebook and keep for your future studies. With this, we are winding up this session of Chapter 5, Periodic Classification of Elements. Study well. Thank you. Have a nice day.